Heading into week 11 of the fantasy football season, I am giving you my starts and sits at the quarterback position. Do me a favor, why don't you comment down below and let me know your most difficult start-sit decision heading into week 11. These are crucial weeks. You need to get those wins to secure a playoff spot. We have 4 teams on bye this week: the Jags, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Bucks. So quite a few quarterbacks that will not be available to you. I hope this list helps. Now, of course, I'm not going to say start Lamar Jackson or start Pat Mahomes. I'm going to try and give you some of these guys who are currently on the edge, all right? My first start of the week is Justin Fields at the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to continue to ride this wave, baby. He was my start of the week 2 weeks ago when I had the quarterback position to cover, and that's when he played Miami. He had 48 points. In the past 3 weeks, Justin Fields is averaging 40.7 fantasy points, and that's for us who play in 6-point passing touchdown leagues. And since week 6, where this fantasy revival has really started, he is averaging 111 rushing yards per game. He's got rushing attempts since week 6 of 12, 14, 8, 15, 13. I mean, this is truly like on track to be quarterback 1 type numbers. This is what we thought Trey Lance could potentially do this year. So Justin Fields, don't be worried that he's had some bad games to begin the year. They've obviously figured something out. He has been unleashed to play his game, and I love to see that. So go ahead and start Justin Fields with confidence. The matchup is good. The Falcons give up the 8th most points to the quarterback position. So this is a good matchup for Justin Fields. Again, we want to ride this wave. All right, my second start of the week is Justin Herbert versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And I can't believe we're sitting here in week 11 and Justin Herbert is currently the quarterback 15 while Justin Fields is the quarterback 3. But this is the reality that we are living in this year. Without his main weapons in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, it's been tough for Justin Herbert to really have success in fantasy this year. But last week, it was a bad matchup. He put up 14 points versus the 49ers, who are one of the league's best defenses. This week, you go to Kansas City. I believe it's going to be flexed into the night game. The Chiefs give up the 4th most points to the quarterback position. I said this on a previous video, but with the Chiefs, I'm a Chiefs fan. Patrick Mahomes covers up a lot of our sins. The defense is not a very good defense. We're getting torched in our secondary. People are able to run the ball on us. So don't be afraid to start people against the Chiefs just because it's the Chiefs. They're incredible offensively, but defensively, they are not even in the top, half of being average defensively. So Justin Herbert is going to have to put up a ton of points versus the Chiefs in order for them to have a chance to win this game. So I like Justin Herbert. Again, the Chiefs give up the 4th most points to the position. Let's ride with him. Expect a 20-point game this week. All right, my third start of the week is Daniel Jones versus the Detroit Lions. You know how I just talked about Justin Fields? He just put up a 43-point game last week. Guess who that was against? The Detroit Lions. Daniel Jones last week versus the Texans put up 22 fantasy points. Now he gets the Detroit Lions, which are the best matchup for a quarterback in fantasy this year. They give up the most points to the position, riding high off of a really good game last week. Daniel Jones is starting to get a couple weapons into the fold with Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and he's also someone who on the ground can put up a 100-yard game in any single game. It's possible for him. We have seen that before. Also, he has 3 touchdowns on the ground this year. So Daniel Jones is a fine start this week versus the Detroit Lions. My 4th start of the week, and again, I'm trying to give you guys who are on the edge, probably in a 1-quarterback league. They're available on the waiver wire. In Superflex, you would decide between this player or another option. Let's start Jimmy G at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals currently give up the 6th most points to the position, and Jimmy G has been a fine fantasy option this year, and the weapons around him are just continually getting better. When all you have to do is dump it off to CMC, throw a screen pass to Deebo Samuel, a slant to Brandon Ayuk, lob it to George Kittle. When you have all these weapons around you, it's really hard to fail in fantasy. I mean, I wish I could have seen Trey Lance in this offense. But since week 5, he only has 1 game under 21 fantasy points, and that was last week versus the Chargers. So Jimmy G has been a fine fantasy option. I think he's going to continue to be a good option this week versus the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go to my sits of the week. I'll give you a couple. This was my starter after Trey Lance went down earlier in the season, about weeks 1 to 5 or so. I had to pick this guy up off the waivers, and he's been really average so far. That is Derek Carr. I do not want to play Derek Carr this week, and it is all about the matchup. He goes up against the Denver Broncos. Last time he faced the Broncos was in week 4. He put up 11 fantasy points. This is a 6-point passing touchdown format as well. 11 fantasy points. Now he goes up against Denver again, who, yes, has lost Chubb, but still, that secondary is incredible. This defense just knows how to get to the quarterback and how to create turnovers. They currently give up the second fewest points to the position. Derek Carr doesn't have Darren Waller. He doesn't have Hunter Renfrow. It's just rough right now in Las Vegas. So do not start Derek Carr this week. There are better streaming options. My second sit of the week is Kenny Pickett versus the Cincinnati Bengals, who is coming off his best ever fantasy performance. Last week, he put up 19 fantasy points against the New Orleans Saints. So you can see kind of things happening for Kenny Pickett, which is good in Dynasty. But this week, I don't want to start him. The Bengals give up the 4th fewest points to the position. I expect this to be a pretty rough game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I could be wrong, but if you're streaming the position or if you're in a super flex scenario, I think there are better starting options than Kenny Pickett this week. So why don't you comment down below? Tell me, your hardest decision this week. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you in a future video.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.